Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a truly fascinating dive into the mind of one of history's most quoted figures, Winston Churchill. We're going to bypass the dry history textbooks and instead look directly at his core philosophy, distilling his words into cohesive, highly actionable insights that we can apply to our own daily challenges, our mindsets, and our relationships.
Let's kick things off with a pretty provocative opening thought. The challenges are default desires. We constantly strive for and wish for health and wealth, treating them as these ultimate safety nets. But as Churchill points out, with this striking historical example, sometimes those metrics of success aren't what actually save us. It's a great reminder that you can never tell whether bad luck may not, after all, turn out to be good luck. It's a powerful way to reframe our expectations as we begin this journey into his worldview.
Section 1. Redefining Success and Failure, the Internal Mindset. So we're going to begin our curriculum of wisdom by exploring exactly how we frame our wins and losses, because, honestly, this sets the stage for absolutely everything else we achieve.
This brilliantly illustrates the stark duality in how we perceive the world. It's not about the situation itself, right? It's entirely about the lens through which you view it. The opportunity and the difficulty exist at the exact same time. The question is simply which one you choose to focus your energy on. Now, this framework completely reshapes the standard definition of achievement. According to Churchill, true success isn't about perfectly avoiding mistakes. Actually, scratch that. It's more of like an active, messy process. You encounter a failure, you stumble right into the next one, but, and this is the absolute key to step 3, you do it with absolutely no loss of enthusiasm. The enthusiasm is the engine, the failures are just the rough terrain you have to cross.
So the crucial takeaway here is that neither your victories nor your defeats are permanent end states. We all tend to catastrophize our failures, don't we? And we overly celebrate our successes like they're the ultimate finish line. But neither state is permanent. The only metric that truly matters in the grand scheme of your life is your baseline courage to just keep going.
And how exactly do we keep going? Well, we usually prioritize raw power or intellect. We figure if we're just smart enough or strong enough, we're going to win. But Churchill argued that continuous effort is the real key to unlocking our potential. It's that daily grind, that refusal to stop trying, that opens doors brute strength or pure genius literally cannot force open.
Moving on to Section 2, the foundation of courage, facing life's dangers. Let's look at how all this builds into the bedrock required for navigating adversity. Because to maintain that continuous effort we just talked about, you absolutely have to be brave. This definition is just profound. Think about it for a second. You can be honest, you can be generous, you can be kind, but every single other virtue we want to possess relies entirely on our initial bravery to act on it. If you lack courage, the rest of your virtues are totally conditional. Courage is the glue that holds your whole character together. Now notice the almost mathematical reality of facing a threatened danger. If you turn your back and run, you literally double the threat. But if you step up, promptly and without flinching, you cut that danger right in half. It's a brilliant visualization of how fear magnifies a threat, while direct, head-on action totally deflates it.
We almost always think of bravery as this loud, aggressive action, the person taking the stage or charging up the hill. But it equally requires the quiet strength to simply sit down and truly listen. It takes a massive amount of internal security and bravery to stop asserting your own voice and genuinely open yourself up to hearing someone else's.
When you face that resistance, just remember, it isn't there to stop you. It's actually the very mechanism required for your elevation. As Churchill noted, this is no time for ease and comfort. It's time to dare and endure. You have to remember that if you're going through hell, you just have to keep going. That wind blowing against you is exactly what's going to lift you higher.
All right, Section 3, the art of people, tact, arguments, and enemies. Now we're pivoting from the internal self to external challenges. Specifically, how we manage our words, our conflicts, and our relationships with the people around us.
We all know that overwhelming temptation to win a debate, right? To get that final, crushing point across. So how should we properly deal with an opponent when emotions are running high and our ego is just screaming for that last word?
Perhaps you are right. Using those 4 simple words embraces one of the greatest lessons in life, knowing that even fools are right sometimes. It instantly diffuses the tension. You aren't conceding defeat. You're simply acknowledging a universal truth while protecting your own peace of mind. Letting go of the need to be flawlessly right 24/7 is a real game changer for social mastery.
This humorous breakdown of why someone might be fond of pigs perfectly visualizes how different perspectives completely dictate the dynamics of our relationships. Think about it. Dogs offer blind admiration, cats offer condescension, but pigs? They look you right in the eye as an equal. It's a slightly cheeky metaphor for sure, but it perfectly captures the value of surrounding yourself with people who treat you as a respected peer, rather than just blindly flattering you or looking down their noses at you.
This is honestly one of his most famous and funniest insights. True tact requires incredibly strict control of our speech. Churchill warned that while people are great at keeping secrets they don't know, we remain masters of our unsaid words, but we become complete slaves to the ones we let slip out. You can deliver the harshest message imaginable, but if you do it with grace, strategy, and tact, you remain the master of the interaction instead of a slave to an emotional outburst.
And, no matter how tactful you are, friction is just inevitable. So don't shy away from having detractors. They're usually the natural byproduct of having strong convictions. If you go through your entire life without ruffling a single feather, well, you probably haven't stood firmly for anything of consequence. Enemies are just proof of your boundaries. They prove your values.
Section 4. Navigating Power and Society, the Macro View. Let's zoom out a bit to examine these profound, impartial observations on human nature and societal structures, and see exactly how these individual traits scale up to whole nations and systems.
By presenting these two economic philosophies purely as side-by-side philosophical observations, we can neutrally see the intrinsic trade-offs he identified in both systems. We're looking at this strictly through the lens of the source material to understand the structural tension he saw, the unequal distribution of prosperity on one side versus the equal distribution of hardship on the other. It's a very straightforward observation on the imperfect nature of human economic systems.
This speaks directly to the intoxicating nature of influence. Churchill noted that we live in an era of big events and small people, where the power of man has grown in literally every single sphere except over himself. We've mastered technology, industry, these massive global systems, and yet the individual human remains deeply susceptible to the addictive poison of holding power over others.
Finally, Section 5. Building your legacy. Giving, changing, and the future. Let's explore exactly how we leave our mark on the world and shape the future we want to see. After examining our internal courage, our interpersonal tact, and society at large, what exactly are we leaving behind? This is just a beautiful reminder that a true legacy is measured by your contributions to others, not by your personal accumulation. I mean, getting things pays the bills and puts food on the table. It makes a living. But the actual texture and meaning of a life, that is forged entirely by what you push back out into the world. Because to give fully, we have to evolve. Churchill said he never worried about action, only inaction. He warned that if we open a quarrel between the past and the present, we're going to find that we have totally lost the future. We simply cannot stay stagnant. The willingness to adapt, to actively change our minds and to constantly iterate on ourselves is absolutely the only path forward.
So I want to leave you with this final, challenging thought to ask yourself every single day. Are you settling for the negative, or are you utilizing continuous effort and courage to forge ahead? Churchill believed every person should ask themselves this question daily. Stop accepting the pessimistic default. Look for the opportunity in the difficulty. Use tact, keep your enthusiasm through the failures, and go build a life by what you give. Thank you so much for exploring these powerful insights with me in this explainer. Keep moving forward.